Well, let me tell you a little something about me. When it's Saturday night, I need to blow off some steam. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I've been rolling in since the clock came Monday morning. From the end of the week, I'm bound to blow. We're walking to the honky tonk like a pack of wolves now. Order of a round of drops and it's away we go.
Well, hello. This is Equipment Talk from IRAY. Again, we have a special guest here today, and it is Troy. Troy, I want to thank you for coming out here today. And actually, Troy has got a couple different positions, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about that, and then what he's doing in that company, just to understand a little bit more about not only technology, and that's what we've been talking about with the heavy equipment and the things that are going on in this world, but also about what is happening with the technology and how they're utilizing it in different businesses. So, Troy, I want to thank you again for coming out here today and to talk to us a little bit about yourself. Whatever got you into basically the interest or the need to work with the equipment or to understand it? What kind of drove you to that?
Growing up in the industry, I guess. Well, I always grew up thinking that these are just big boy toys. And then when you had gotten into the industry, it kind of sparked more interest, and here we are today.
Yeah, because I know that there was a time back where you were actually get on a piece of equipment and you didn't even have any real experience with it, but you'd take the ground and level it out, and there wasn't no big bumps or humps or anything like that. So whatever kind of gave you that feel for it, or what made you that, not only the interest, but what drove you to be, as good as you were right off the bat? Was it just a nature that kind of gave that to you, or did you have just a desire to kind of work with equipment and see how things worked, and who taught you how to run that stuff so well?
Most of it I taught myself, and I think that's how most, I will not call myself a good operator. That is left for the professionals. But I feel like they must have learned a lot of the same way of just having an interest. And when you're watching it, you're trying to do the best that you can, whether you're inexperienced or, seasoned, that it's do it to the best of your ability and try to learn.
And you learn fast. I can see that. But so now, Troy, as far as what you're doing, let's say like 5 years ago, what kind of work were you working with at that time? And then what brought you to today? Just kind of give us a little bit of background on yourself that way so we can kind of understand who Troy is.
5 years ago today, I was banging iron. I was an iron worker.
Oh, wow.
And I loved the work, but strenuous, and it's hard work. It's hard work.
So you were walking beams like they have on those movies back in the 40s and stuff like that, with no ropes or anything else, and sitting there having your lunch up on a beam? Is that kind of what you were doing there?
Well, that kind of stuff isn't allowed anymore, which ironworkers have. OSHA makes different laws for them, and inside of those parameters of elevations and being tied off and such. But most of what we did was schools and churches. I did a lot of work out of baskets. I walked iron and such, but we did a lot of our work out of baskets.
So they didn't have big cranes there that were autonomous or something that would actually, you'd program it in and it would swing you over to the big beams to you and then drop them down, and then you guys would do your thing, bolting them on or riveting them or whatever you did there?
No, and from my own personal experience, I'm grateful that there wasn't any autonomy in there, because that crane operator had saved my life more than once.
Oh, because he caught quicker because he seen you, or what was the deal there?
Well, that was exactly it. He was cable down, but I was in a position where if he continued, crunch.
He'd have crushed you, huh?
Yep.
Wow. So you really got to trust the guy, or, don't they have safety fault nets or something like that for that kind of work, or are you always at risk of taking your life when you got somebody else that's running that piece of equipment?
Whenever you put your life into somebody else's hands, there's that opportunities there. But I think that's also why in that industry they're so close, is because every single day you trust everybody around you with your life.
Wow. Yeah, and and they're talking about autonomous coming in, to cranes and
Mhm.
even bringing them in through drones of some sort, or it'd take a big one, wouldn't it? It'd be
It'd be a
like a
big deal.
helicopter, but I'm sure that that's going to come, and with alternative fuels and all these things that we've been talking about, and you're in the equipment industry there basically because that's what you guys utilize to do the jobs you're doing. Now, as far as it brought you up to today, now I know in the last couple of years you've been working towards, well, you're actually president, right?
President Brad Software. Yep.
Brad Software, and Brad Software will basically you can use that for what type of platforms? Any platform, all platforms. What is the circumference?
Well, we haven't found its limits yet.
So you could use it for autonomous if you had to.
I believe the opportunity lies there.
Wow, wow. So you're going to be the guy that's making the deals with guys that are going to be having that type of software to run those types of equipment and whatnot.
We believe that we have the capabilities to facilitate their needs. But you're in uncharted territory, so we both got to grow together. We'll both come to an understanding together.
But I mean, you're saying that that you're going to put your you're going to take and put your hat on the table, and you're going to throw your hat in the ring, I should say,
Oh,
and you guys are going to go up and do what you can or whatnot to facilitate some of these industries that are going to be using autonomous or even maybe robotic or even
our
for
hats in on machine learning, if that's what you're getting at. Yes. Yep.
okay. So I mean, you're on the forefront, right?
Yep. We're trying to expand it, trying to make life easier, and to do so, it takes a lot more work on our end to make your life easier. But
So now with the product that that you're talking about and the applications and everything else, what makes Brad software, so special compared to, other software companies out there or even with what they're doing and with what Brad software is doing?
well, I think that that's actually going to be a matter of opinion. In my opinion, the greatest I refer to it as a gift because it's not. We're Brad Software's intention is for the people, and it's which might seem simple, but we look to give you your business, you, and stop the data release to everybody else.
So what you're saying is that you're going to be a pioneer, like other people that went out there and started their own business back, like Little House on the Prairie, where you started your own sawmill or whatnot, and or grocery store and or hardware store, and it gave you an opportunity to maybe be a helper to the people that need it. That type of help. So basically, what you're saying is you're going to be the pioneer.
Yeah, we are literally trying to pioneer an avenue where everybody has to rent their software now, and it's a give and take. And honestly, it seems like the independent business owner is just giving, and they're not really taking. They're not. They're
I mean, are you talking about giving because they're renting a
well,
platform and
yeah.
and when they house their information on that platform that they really don't have control over their information as much as they think they do, or where you at with that?
That's kind of a bit of what I'm getting at. It's they're first you pay to rent the platform. You never own any of it. If you, I mean, heaven forbid you miss a payment or something's happening along the lines or something on their end happens, your page is could be down, and who knows what could happen after that. Um, we when you feed through another platform with your software is being analyzed, your contacts are being analyzed, you're unfortunately giving away your sensitive information of your business, because at the end of the day that's your money, is your contacts.
So just to give a good perspective on this, it'd be like you leasing a truck or you buying a truck and owning the truck.
Right.
So you give them the opportunity to own the truck or the software, right?
Mhm.
In your case, and over here they're just going to lease it to them and they want it back.
Oh, right, they still hold the reins to everything.
So if you put any frills or trills on that truck, they own them.
Right. Don't do the exhaust. It might go against the rules.
Yeah.
But it's essentially yes. I mean, our software, while we encompass a lot of industries, but our whole point is to give you your business, is to make you as powerful.
So let's walk back into the equipment part of it, okay? And let's say that you have equipment out there. Where do you feel that right now, with where you're at with the software, that your best fit is in the equipment industry? To start with, let's say.
In the equipment industry, we still work mostly in the dealership realm.
So yours would be more towards a dealer owning or keeping his business and his clientele through using your software.
First, yes. I mean, we do branch out and do other, I don't want to say work, but facilitate like the companies themselves and being able to their, if you're a dealer, what we call fleet management, but you can go out inside to a private business and have that same sort of power as.
So what would give, let's say I was somebody that's going to buy the software and utilize it for the equipment industry. Are you saying that it'd be better for if I was selling parts online, or if I was leasing equipment online, or if I was selling equipment online? Which, I mean, where's probably your strengths in there? Is it all of them, or is it just part of it? Or what's your take on that?
Yes.
All of it?
All of it. We it's on how our software is designed so that it's to facilitate that need. How whatever need that you are pointing at directly can be facilitated. We could do all three of those. If you were to have all three of those businesses inside of your corporation, you still have a one-stop shop. You don't have to run around and look.
So let's kind of take this in perspective. So if I got a business, let's say that I sell equipment, okay, and I'm selling my equipment, but I don't have a software. I'm renting it or whatnot, or leasing it. Let's call it, okay, because that's kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I use somebody else's platform for it, and I don't want to own it, or I don't own it. And what is the difference between that and me purchasing a software from, let's say, Brad Software? Is it going to be easier if I owned it, or is there more work if I lease it from somebody else? Because I know that there's going to be some back end things that, that come up in that, because, you've got all these scammers, let's call out there, right? Okay. And then you also have hackers, right?
Yep.
And then you have the other people that are out there that are just trying to get your money, right? So where's the balance in that? And where do you feel that, that you're going to be able to have the strengths for me as a customer with your software versus leasing it for somebody else? I mean, just if you could just help me with that just a little bit.
To me personally, I guess, I don't want to say being an American, but ownership is
well, that's why we came to America. We're forefront. We want to go out and do something and have it, right?
Yeah, you want something at the end of the day that you'd be able to show.
You mean it's not like Russia where we can go over there and we could work all the time and maybe throw us a bone or two, and then we're still going to get that bone taken from us because we're not going to get it in the end, because the bottom line is that we don't own anything, right?
Right. Interesting analogy, but correct. We don't. I think of how to word it correctly, because when we offer to when we give you the ability to facilitate your business, instead of having to rent multiple forms of software to encompass what it is that your business needs to facilitate, whether it be making it as easy as possible for the input of your new inventory to all the way through. I don't think that I'm answering your question quite.
I'm just asking because I think that it comes down to communication. So, do we have better communication with your software versus another software? Do we have what makes it? Can they pay us through the software? Can they not? In the leasing one, they can't pay me through the software. I mean, they could use payment program or whatever and get the money if they get it approved through there. But these are kinds of things that I'm just wondering how,
Yes, inside the software, we have what you're referring to, your payment portal. Yes. Whether you can attach a card company, what have you. We have communication is actually a big part of the foundation of the encapsulation, because communication is key in a business, especially with what we have going on nowadays with having even less employees. You need those employees that you have to communicate at the highest levels possible. Whether you have your task boards, whether you have communication between messaging and video communications, we today requires a lot of different ways to meet and to communicate. And inside of Brad, we realized that, and we wanted to try to simplify that. To be able to communicate inside of your company, sometimes you just need to see stuff. So video chat would probably be the easiest.
So I could sit in Hawaii with my feet in the sand and a drink in my hand, and I could communicate.
Yeah, you're going to make everybody at that office jealous, but you can. Yeah.
Well, as long as everybody else is doing their job and I'm doing mine, I guess we're in good shape, aren't we?
Yep, that's true. But like I say, communication is key. When you got task boards that you can have your company on, and you're watching the progression of those tasks. I mean, not only does it, for a quick reference of being able to then move on, instead of if somebody wants to try to monitor and just try to get some sort of, you don't have to take people's time to do so. You can keep on going.
Oh, you mean so I wouldn't have to go there and grab them and say, hey, you got to talk to me now or this or that. You can just kind of like a text or whatever and ding them or send it to them like a text would. I always call it kind of dinging somebody, because all of a sudden, bling, bling, it comes on.
Well, right. And then in doing so inside of that, you don't push somebody to go to their phone where you could start wasting time.
Well, so they can look it up anytime.
Yeah.
And anywhere. And also they can communicate with you in whatever area or whatever you need to see in what you're doing.
Yes.
All right. So the bottom line is that you saying all encompassing, which means that, or
it's a bold statement.
Very bold, very bold. And so what you're saying too is that now if I have other programs that I'm using, that I need those programs, okay? Because I got lookup books, I've got, the serial number books. It tells me the years so that I know what I'm selling, you know what I mean? So if I have those things, how do they work with your program, or how does that work?
Our software is what's referred to as modular based. So we can take those outside programs and we attach it, and we put it in so that the workflow.
So you can connect that program to work inside your program.
Correct. It'll synchronize inside so that the workflow works properly, and so that you don't miss a key. Because being realistic for a moment, when you're going to all of these different spots, you're going to all these different programs to facilitate your needs, you create an opportunity for error. As soon as you exit a program, something could go wrong, which I don't know if it's ever happened to you at all, but it has happened to me in the past, and it's a really annoying part of the process.
Well, what happened to us one time was that a guy took and we were getting, equipment, attachments from another manufacturer, and that manufacturer got hacked. And we weren't working inside of their program or a program. We were working with emails and stuff, right?
Okay.
So we got hacked, and they sent us a bill and said, if you don't pay it within so many hours, we're cutting you off. So we sent them a check. We wired them the money. And guess what? They weren't there. It was not them. They got hacked. So the point is that, let's say working within, the company or the program,
secured program,
they'd have to log in. So these guys wouldn't know your login because they're not going to know that, right?
Correct.
So that would have protected us in that incident.
Yep. This Brad software is a secure program. I believe right now we run at 144 bit, which it's not the easiest to get through. We want to try to secure the individuals in your company so that, just like you just spoke about, that somebody can't just make stuff up. Like the emails that are coming to you, then different things that you're able to monitor. I mean, You can look back at past receipts inside your that
Your
same
profile.
program. Yeah, you can look at that individual profile
Mhm.
and look at the receipts. You can look at your business and what's been done with
Like
that
even you
client.
ordered or whatever, so that if you didn't order it or you did pay for it, you'd have seen it right away, right?
Correct. 'Cause
Yeah.
it should
So
be
like we
attached to that
didn't
client.
know, or the girls didn't know in the office. We had other situations like that as well. But that's what happens as we're growing and we new technology and everything else. So
Well, and
and
even
that
scamming's probably the worst that it's ever been. I mean, where it's the hacking, it's
well that
getting to be terrible. I mean, the most security that an individual can have through the software that a company owns, I mean, they're going to be by far more likely to work with you just because they feel more safe.
Well, I kind of get that because we're in business and we've been doing business for a long time and we've had all kinds of people. And it wasn't even scammers that got us. It was someone that got took on one end and they try to take us on the other because they got took. And they did it through other channels, but with what you're talking about with the program, that would have saved us. We could have paid for your program a couple times over.
Sure.
So wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
We also try to make it affordable, is what we believe. That you know,
So you mean you don't have to be a Fortune 500 company to own a program and put it online and be able to utilize it for your company and utilize it in a way where it will help you run the company more efficiently, where you can cut out maybe where you don't have 2 or 3 people there to do that job. You can say, I can still take that job as long as you can put it into your login or whatever, or your profile, so we can handle it.
correct. And actually, kind of what you were actually alluding to. Brad Software offers the opportunity for what we refer to as outside loadup, where every client has a profile, but not just like a typical CRM profile where they just have in the back end, you have your viewing capabilities. We offer an opportunity for that client to be able to manipulate their own file. Now, that only goes to a certain extent.
So I could use it for my own business as an individual.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Say, well, as an auction yard, if you were to offer, you could offer the service of fleet management. So then every single time that their machines, they get maintenance, they get anything that happens, you can put it into a file. They could put it into their own file and they could use it, because a lot of some companies, they don't have the opportunity to have a fleet manager.
So their equipment, I could see that, and then I could do an appraisal for them because I'm an appraiser as well. So they could load up all their equipment and the information.
Mm-hmm.
So we can manipulate the fields to make it to each one of the types of equipment, so that it has all the options that are within it, make, model, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, we could actually go into it ourselves as a company and be able to appraise those pieces of equipment for them.
Correct. And one of the things that we offer that might be a little bit different, which some might not think that it's that big of a deal, but I feel like when you're out in the field, it's a pretty big deal, that you go into one of those categories, those descriptions, and there's something that you feel that should be in there, but that description isn't. You can add that on the fly while you're there.
Wow.
As long as you have the rights to do so, you're able to make it so that you can actually fulfill that appraisal properly, correctly.
Yeah. And I could print a report there or in-house or wherever.
Yeah,
huh?
Absolutely.
Cool. And then so when it comes down to, let's say that I wanted to share an item to somebody else, where that's, where we're doing is that we have customers that might want to share a piece of equipment that we do have on an auction or something like that. That's something that's definitely there as well?
I feel like I'm going to say this a bunch. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That is having inside of that file, they have the opportunity to make that shareable. As the dealer or the consultant, you have the opportunity to share from that file as well. As because one of the things that we found out is through different marketing solutions is that the text message is seen almost 70% more
So people text 70% more than
email.
Oh, then emails. Okay.
is kind of what I'm getting at. And most of it's phone calls.
Yeah,
it
emails are
depends
kind
who
of
you
tough
are.
for me. I mean, if I'm out and about, I I hear a ding on an email or something, I'm thinking somebody's sending me some type of advertising that it really,
Right.
I'm not going to look as easy. Now, you're right. I do look at texts all the time because, I just don't know if somebody's asking me a question or it's a friend or whoever it is.
Correct. According to some statistics, if that person responds in the first 10 minutes, it's to a text, and that's almost 90%. So your advertisement, this is being an easily fulfilled avenue.
Mhm.
I mean, your response is greatly increased, and it's also, and I say that because you don't have to go to necessarily an outside source. We don't offer you still have to pay for find which provider you'd like to use.
So I can use my own provider. I don't have to use
Yep,
any of
you don't have
yours.
to use any of mine. You
And you're
choose
going to
whatever
give me
avenues you want to
the
use.
program to put on my providers.
Yeah.
And if I have let's say I have a programmer or I know somebody I like, right?
Yeah.
You're going to give him the information so he can move it over there?
Yep.
Wow.
He'll be able to manipulate. As long as he has a basic understanding, he should be able to do whatever it is inside of that program that you want. It doesn't take a seasoned programmer to be able to offer you to be able to help you facilitate whatever it is inside of that business, or to be able to facilitate those files.
Wow. What about like your SEOs? I hear so much about SEOs as far as how they work and this and that. I mean, there's a lot of places to go with that. How do I really, am I able to take let's say your program and be able to understand what's working, what's not? I've spent so much money on sending flyers out. I don't know what's working, what's not, because I don't have anything to fall back on, to show me. I mean, yeah, I can see that I sent out 10,000 flyers and I got 1,000 people in or 800 people in, but it didn't really tell me which people that I sent it to that I should keep sending it to and the ones that I shouldn't. Unless they bought something, then I know. But if they've looked at it, I really don't know. How do you track something like that? And where do you guys, how do I get something like that so I can actually do it with the push of a button instead of me trying to figure out how I'm going to do it every time?
Well, inside of Brad, we do offer the analytics that you're referring to. The SEO is basically the printed form. And I might have missed it, but we offer you the gauging. The gauges that help you monitor just those things, whether it be your point of sale and what it is that is selling the best. Your reviews of your advertisements and the areas in which those you're getting the best response, where it is that your money should be going, and then on just the opposite ranges of what's necessarily not working. And you can put those up in whether you'd like a chart or your pie scale. Inside of Brett, we have a lot of opportunity to see what different kind of analytics.
So you're saying like, I know some of these programs will tell you where it's an Android or if it's an iPhone or if it's a computer and what kind of computer it is. So you'll have all those things available as well?
Yeah. Yes. For your tablet, your desktop, or your cell. You also have the options of which.
Does it tell how many came in and stuff like that too?
Yeah. It does. And it'll tell you in a time span. You can figure out if you want it to be by what kind of time period you're looking for, if it by the day, by the week, by the month, so you can actually get a range.
So you're saying that I can see when people, if they look at it, the most people look at it from 3 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely.
And then I can do my marketing then.
Mm-hmm. Watch your peak viewing times, your peak interest times, your peak search words. It's a very powerful tool if you're willing to learn how to use it. Very
well.
powerful.
I don't sound like I'd have to learn a lot if I'm doing it, to what you give me for an outline, right?
Well, correct. I mean, we're not going to throw the book at you and give you every single one that you want. You can pick from the ones that you feel are going to be the most helpful for yourself, so that you don't just look at an entire page of things and you don't really necessarily either understand what you're looking at or staring at something that's just not necessary.
Well, we have advertising people anyways. And
Right.
if we give them the tools, I guess, they're going to figure it out because they have to either way, especially when we're on 6, 8, 10 different platforms. Then we got people calling us and asking us to get on these other platforms. Oh, they're going to do you great. And it's like, I think only helped them out. I didn't help myself out that much, and we spent the money. So, and those are the things that, that would be really helpful for us. And I think that for everybody, I guess I'm going to say, not just for us. And now, as far as if my customer wanted to, let's say he wanted to talk to me about something, you mean we could set it up where they could come into our system and he could log in and they could actually send me a text or whatever through the system, and I'm going to call it a ding, okay? Because that's what my phone does when it goes off. It goes ding. So I could go in there and look and see who it is, and then I could opt in and talk to them if I needed, or if I had the time to, or whatnot. Or I could message them and tell them, hey, I'll get back to you in just give me an hour or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yep. The software, it's as long as the software also facilitates, as long as it's a computer-based program, like you could have a number on your phone that runs through it. And in the same note, where inside the software, instead of dinging, you could just click their number.
And call them.
You call them, or their email, you click the email. Goes
right through the program.
Through it.
Right through the system.
Yep. And so it tries to take away those barriers of what I feel like you're kind of alluding to.
Well, I'm my thing is that I don't like all these people trying to call me and scam me on the phone and this and that, and then I think it's somebody else. I'm answering it. It's just waste of time, and then they give me this recording that says they want to give me an oil change or something, or my insurance, or not my insurance, my warranty is up on my vehicle. Yeah. I mean, I've never had more than about 80 zillion of them calls, and it's like I got time for it. I'm ready to just throw the phone away because it's too much. They're taking your time. I don't like people taking my time because I don't have that much time, and we're just trying to do business with people, and we still got to, facilitate them. So we could actually set up our own system within the system that would help us be more controlled, or not controlled, I should say safer, because not just anybody can go in and do it, right?
Correct.
So if they're not a customer of ours, or they're not somebody like that, they cannot just go in and go through it and do what they want to do.
Nope. They have to log in order to access anything, in order to play. You're able to track who it is that's coming onto your page. So you'll know what it is that they go to look at.
If there's somebody that was a person that really I didn't want to talk to anymore because they were just wasting my time all the time and calling to try to do ads or something, I could probably block them in there, huh?
I believe that's there, yes.
Excuse me. Well, that's cool. Yeah, no, what do you feel is actually the strongest attributes to what you're doing in the software world that everybody else isn't doing? Is it because you're using technology that is beyond what these people have, or is it because you're just developing it and these guys have had it for 10 years or 15 years? And I know that because of we have an access database within our system, and I'm telling you what, the Mayflower is when that one came across. Now, I mean, it does work, but it doesn't give you that many options. We don't have a lot of things that we can really do with it without a programmer. And, I mean, not that it hasn't helped us over the years, because we've made it work for us. But the problem is, if I was on the road, I couldn't push and call somebody out of it because it's just not available. It doesn't go back into my system. Right. So those are things that would really be helpful for us. But at the same time, where do you feel that you are in that window of a 20-year window, comparably to maybe a competitor that's kind of there, but maybe not quite there? What is the difference between Brad Software and, let's say, another bidding platform for me for auctioning, and also a CRM that would work for me at the same time? Where's Brad Software comparable to those other types of platforms?
Well, I have my personal opinions.
Why don't you give me a kind of a what it does or doesn't do compared to what they do or don't do?
I've watched other platforms and how it is that they facilitate those jobs. I believe that we've taken out a lot of steps to make that sale, auction, however you prefer to address it, to make it easier from setup, your clerking, being able to own your clerking platform. How do you like that instead of renting it every single time? I know a lot of companies that pay a lot of money every single sale, every single one that you could have paid for this platform multiple times.
Yeah.
And it's just, from my perspective, and you'll hear it from me time and time again, is because I care more about the individual company than I care about almost anything else. I want that independence. I want that power. I want you to be able to do what you know is necessary to facilitate your business, because it's not his business. It's not their business. And that,
Oh, so you're saying that, they're not going to sell you a platform because they don't know, they rent you, like you said, lease it or whatever, like I was saying before, on a truck.
well, if they sell you their platform, then they can't track your bidders. If they sell you that platform, then they can't monitor what it is you're doing. If they can rent it to you, they know every single piece of information about your business.
So you're saying that little Johnny wants to start up a business and he's just got out of auction college. He goes over to them and pays for their platform for that time. He gets all my customers.
Oh, hope it was a fun start.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to be. I'm for that individual. I'm for that beginner. I want them be able to succeed, and for you to give all of your business, to give all of your information away, you're giving your company away. You're giving your largest investment.
So you're just opening up the cash register and handing the money out, is what you're saying.
I mean, and who wants?
So we're over in Russia again now.
How are you going to run a business that way? It's giving that individual the opportunity, whether to succeed to the potential that they're willing to put into it, and not trying to cuff them by charging them for this and charging them for that and taking this from them and taking that from them.
And you're saying that basically they'll rob you as much as you let them.
They're in it to make money. And once you get to be so large, for corporations, you're just a number, and there's it's. I feel like that you get away from the whole idea and mentality of, forgive me, but being an American, and that's what it's the mentality that Brad is founded on, is that independence. That if you're willing to go chase it, you can get it.
And you can help them.
Absolutely. That's what I want to do. I want to help.
And you can do it. So let's say that I have a company and I want different reports. I don't want the same reports as they give or the other guys I'm leasing from gives. I want some more reports that help me do better advertising or do better marketing. And so you're saying that I'd be able to set up any kind of report I want.
Yes.
All the fields I ever wanted to, doesn't matter what it is, because I could sell anything from toasters to dozers to loaders, excavators, whatever, right?
Be a heck of a store, but heck, yeah.
But I pretty much could, because I can set teams up for each part, because I could do it for individuals or I could do it for my company. And I could split my company up that way and just put them under two different divisions right underneath the same program.
Yeah. Yes.
And so then as far as, let's say, like your SEOs, where you're doing your marketing in, and it could be anything from, sending out blogs to taking and sending out pieces of equipment or toasters to families, that the newest and greatest, it might have a little turbocharge on the toaster, but
good. I don't like waiting.
Solar charge, I'm talking solar.
I don't like waiting minutes for my toast. And actually, one of the things that we have built into Brad that is going to simplify what it is that you're just talking about is what we refer to as API integration, where you're able to, inside of your software, you monitor your social media. You can add right from your software, so you don't have to come outside and play inside of Facebook, where Facebook's attached, or forgive me.
So you could be another Facebook, or you could be another Google ad search deal, or you could be another. So your SEOs are all encompassing.
Right. And inside, like if you were to put, and the reason that I said it like that is that once you inlay those platforms, then inside of Brad, you're able to monitor those platforms. You're
So-
able to monitor the progress.
So I'll be able to put a podcast right inside of my system and run it from there. And if people want to come into it, or if they want to listen to it later down the road, they could come back in and listen.
I believe we facilitate that.
Yeah.
But that's trying to be able to give people options, being able to.
So I
to
could put
work.
my emails in there if I wanted to.
You'll be we'll
How about my time clock? Could I get people to punch in on there?
well you.
So if they're working offsite,
whether they like it or not, they're going to punch in and out anyway because they got to log in.
yeah. So then basically load up, or even their activities, they could turn around and punch a clock right inside my system.
Yep.
And or what if I wanted to see, what they're doing in there, they could turn around and put their camera on their phone and I could see it right through the system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody
instead of
dented, let's say that
communications-
somebody dented a piece of equipment or
Oh,
something like this, they could show it and say, hey, look, and I'm sorry, but this guy here just backed into this thing.
Right. Yeah. And you take take liability off yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Or in instances where I was talking to some boat dealers and or rentals, those kind of what you're getting at, being able to show the condition. That if you have a rental coming in and out, you'll be able to show the condition when it left, so
Oh,
that you have
nice.
documentation.
Yeah.
Or when you receive something that say from the marine place, they had taken in a storage piece, and when they let it released, it was still fine, like nothing had happened to him. But during that time, while it was in the owner's hands, they had done something. So then they wanted to try to say that the marine dealer had done something to the boat. Well, if you have pictures of that boat when it left your show, sorry, sir, but I know this isn't true.
So you're saying that, let's say that if I had a couple different places that I had, and I had cameras out there, I could actually look in through the software, you stay in the system, and I could see those cameras come through the software or whatnot too. So I could keep everything housed into the same system, so that way that nobody else could hack in and see my stuff or go online or do this or do that. So
We
I've
should
got
be able
more
to-
security that way.
Yeah, we'd be able to attach that. So then, that's just it. You'd be able to take all of your business and make sure that it's secure inside, so you don't have outside eyes being able to view any of it. It gives to us, that gives you your power. It gives you your
So
stability.
if you're building all these platforms, pretty much to have all these capabilities, and I want my own look and touch and feel, is that a lot of extra money to do that? Or how do you guys handle that piece of it?
Well, that's how you want. It depends on the conversation that takes place of how you want to go about it. If you want to have us do all the programming, then it
So you're saying somebody else could
possible.
program and put my pictures and my logo in there and my address and maybe even some of my bio in there, you know what I mean, of where I am and who I am and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. We design it so that you don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to be. Well, I believe you want to have some sort of skill set at it, but you don't have to be the
guy going in there and programming the whole program.
correct.
Because I
Correct.
know that a lot of these old programs I say old because I have access, right? That you got to know access, or otherwise you cannot do this stuff. It just ain't going to happen. So you're saying that that code or whatever you use in there, that you're going to be able to do that if you just have an understanding of programming.
Correct.
And you don't have to know any certain kind.
We made it so that you should be able to go through our library.
Oh, you got a
and
library.
Be able to take the code and we made it so that the code is available to you there. That it's copy, paste. Try to make it simple so that it will basically walk you through it, but you do it yourself. And at the end of the day, you'll feel like a programmer, but it's within reason. Within reason.
So where do you see, Brad Software going from here? It sounds like a big step. There's a lot to it.
I've got quite a vision, but there is a lot to it. I'm looking in 2.5 weeks, the end of this month, I will be going out to San Diego, California for the International Auctioneers Convention.
International. Wow.
Yes, sir. We're going to put Brad back out in the bright lights.
The
And,
bright lights. Well, you got to get them all on board on that one, huh?
I'm looking forward to it.
So you're saying that you do have the live auction bidding platform, right?
Yes, sir.
You have a soft close, like we talk about soft closes,
Yes.
so that
Yep.
somebody doesn't want a bid call, they could soft close it. And then you have the pre-bidding option as well.
Correct.
So they could do a pre-bid on up till an hour, whatever, before the auction.
Whatever.
And then they could have on the live event, turn it on, and boom, they could take the pre-bids, put them in there, and you're off and running.
Correct. And then after that, you have your own clerking platform that you get to run the sale off yourself. We believe that we just made this process easier, and we look forward to showing, to letting others see it, that we're not just long-winded.
Not yet, right?
Not yet. I'm improving the lungs, but to let the world see that it doesn't have to be that hard, and that not everybody is against you.
Well, Troy, I want to thank you for coming out here today. Good luck in Santiago, Santiago, whatever you want to call it, but I think it's Santiago. And, I think that you're going to do a great job out there. I think that, that it's an AI system, right?
Correct.
So being an AI system, it's artificial intelligence, so it actually learns a lot on its own, and you've got a lot of options, a lot of features and that going on. So it doesn't matter if you're going out to an auction industry, or if you're going to go out to a rental company, or if you're going to go out to just a machinery sales place, that you can sell them a platform that'll definitely suit their needs and give them everything they need to do the job that you're saying that they can do.
We believe so.
All right. Well, thanks again, Troy. Do appreciate it. Again, this is Ray Henry, Colonel Ray Henry from over at IRAY, but we're at Equipment Talk, and want to thank you for watching.
Thank you.